In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what Web 3.0 is in simple terms that anyone can understand. You'll see why everyone's talking about it right now, and the massive potential it brings by introducing what I call the ownership layer of the internet. And if you stick around to the very end, I'll show you 3 ways that you can potentially profit from this massive new opportunity. If you're new to the channel, hi and welcome. My name's Alex Jackson and this is 3Zero. Together with my co-host Alex Yella and I, we've built multiple million-dollar businesses. We understand what drives user growth and user behavior, and we use that perspective to predict which trends in Web3 are going to explode and deliver the biggest profits for builders and investors. So if that sounds good to you, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell. We'd really appreciate it, and you'll get to see more future videos just like that. So to understand Web 3.0, first you have to understand Web 1.0. And this was a stage of the internet between about 1995 and 2005. During this time, the internet was pretty much just made up of boring, static HTML pages. You could go online, read a whole bunch of text, look at some images, but that was about it. You couldn't really interact with the internet like you can these days. And during this period, users were considered essentially consumers of information. That was all you could really do on the internet. So in this era, the internet was very open and decentralized. The people who made the most money were the builders and the creators, the people who would go and build new things and develop new concepts and new businesses on the internet. There were no gatekeepers and no rent seekers. Essentially, the internet started out very open and decentralized. No one had a huge control of it. But then things took a bit of a turn. Enter Web 2.0. This was the second phase of the internet, and it started in about 2005. And during this phase of the internet, people started realizing that you could do a lot more online than just display information. So we started seeing more complex and more sophisticated applications start exploding. Instead of just blog posts and news sites and directories, we started seeing way more things like podcasting, video streaming, social networking. We saw gaming and all kinds of other crazy applications. And with this, we also saw a massive explosion of new business models. We saw e-commerce, advertising, online gambling, all kinds of applications, software as a service. Now, instead of just a read-only environment where you could go and read information and consume it, we now had read and write. Users of the internet weren't just consumers of information, now they were also creators. During this phase of the internet, the biggest winners have been a very small group of concentrated companies. Companies like Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, which are known as the FANG companies. These companies have built amazing applications that we all know and love and use in our everyday lives. They've really changed the world and how it works. We use things like social and search every single day. There's just been a few problems. What these companies have done over time is they've collected and amassed more and more of our data, and they use this data to build better products. Just take Netflix, for example. The more data they get about what you're interested in and what type of movies or shows you watch, the better they can feed you recommendations using their algorithm. The same goes for Facebook and Google. They deliver better search results based on what they know about you, and this process kind of continues. It's also the process that they used to really stifle competition. A lot of these companies, they use the data to reflexively build a better product, and then as they build a better product, they get more users and it becomes harder and harder to compete with them, which means then they get more data. And over time, this has given those companies a massive control over the internet. In fact, the FANG companies that I mentioned before have something like 40% of all of the internet's traffic. That's a lot of power. And with a lot of power means that they can really crush a lot of competitors, people that are building new and innovative businesses on the internet. A while back, a lot of people started building businesses using Facebook and Twitter's API. An API is an application programming interface, a way to essentially use data and information from that application and pull it to create interesting new products, right? But the problem is Facebook and Twitter saw a lot of these companies as competitors. They believe their information is theirs, and it is legally. So What they did was they essentially crushed and shut down a lot of these companies that are building new and interesting and innovative things online. So now, instead of having an open, distributed network where the value accrues to a broad range of builders and creators, now we have something very different. We have a less open internet, an internet that's really controlled by a small group of massive tech companies. And here's another problem. Because these companies own so many users and so much data, they have virtually unlimited power, meaning creators, people who are making music and videos and art on these platforms and really contributing to the liveliness and vibrance of these platforms, often don't make much money, sometimes nothing at all, because these platforms take such massive take rates, sometimes up to 50%. And worse, if they don't like the person or don't like what they're saying, they can just cut them off the internet and stop them from using the platform. So unlike Web 1.0, the internet really is no longer free and open. It's controlled by a small group of companies who decide who can participate, what they can say, and who can profit. And that's where Web 3.0 comes in. But first, if you're enjoying the video, remember to smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. We'd really appreciate it, and it'll help you see more of our videos in the future. So enter Web 3.0, and what exactly is Web 3.0? Well, it's the era of the internet that we're just going into, and I call it the ownership layer of the internet. Chris Dixon, a partner at A16Z, which is an amazing venture capital firm, calls Web3 an internet owned by users and builders. There's an amazing interview where Chris explains his views on Web3, what it is, and where he thinks it's going, and I'll link it in the description below. Make sure you check it out. So when I say Web3 is the ownership layer of the internet, what exactly do I mean by that? What I mean is that Web3 is an internet powered by blockchains. And blockchains are a technology that allow you to store, own, and create digital assets called tokens. These tokens come in two different types. The first are fungible tokens. And fungible tokens are interchangeable. One is exactly like another. Take Bitcoin, for example, or Ether, the native asset of Ethereum. When you take one Ether, that's exactly like another Ether, which is exactly like another Ether. They're no different. Examples in the real world are cash and stocks and bonds, right? If you take cash, for example, one $100 bill is exactly like the next $100 bill. The next type of token is non-fungible tokens. And these tokens are unique and different. One NFT is not like the next NFT, is not like the next NFT. A non-fungible token can be pretty much anything. People have dreamed up all kinds of amazing things already, like art and memes and music and in-game assets, like you can have weapons or outfits in games. People are already using all of these kind of things as NFTs, and I'm sure they're going to dream up way more stuff in the future. So you're probably wondering, how does that even work? How do blockchains allow us to store and create digital assets? Well, before you had a blockchain, you needed something called a trusted third party. Take, for example, your bank account. If I send you $100, the bank would have to keep a record of who owns what. So they'd take $100 off my balance and add $100 to your balance, right? And the exact same thing happened in games, for example. Let's say you play Fortnite or Habbo Hotel and you buy something or you own something inside the game. Well, you can't really control and own that. You can't bring it onto different games, you can't take it off the game and store it. It's not really yours, it's controlled and owned by that company. And so until recently, until blockchains, we needed trusted third parties to keep track of who owned what in the digital world. And now that's all changed, thanks to blockchains like Ethereum. What these blockchains do is essentially act like a big global computer. Think of it like a world computer that anyone can use, but no one actually owns. You can also go into this computer and store things and use things and create things, and you can basically own and hold those digital items without anyone else being able to access them. The other cool thing about Ethereum is that it's Turing complete, which means you can run any application you can dream of on Ethereum, whether it's social networking or video platforms. Basically anything that you can dream of, anything that's already exists in Web 2.0 can be built on Ethereum in Web 3.0. Now, right now there's some limitations. It costs a lot to run certain applications on Ethereum. But over time, we expect that those costs will come right down as different pieces of the technology develop and grow. And within those applications that people are building on Ethereum and other blockchains like Ethereum, like Avalanche and Polkadot, you can basically do all kinds of interesting things with your tokens. more and more of these things are getting dreamed up every day. A famous example is Uniswap.org. And Uniswap allows you to swap between different tokens that have been built. So for example, if I hold one token, token A, that's been launched on Ethereum, and you have token B, this technology will allow you to say, buy token A and me to buy token B. So let's summarize. There's been 3 stages of the internet: Web 1.0, Web 2.0, and now we're entering Web 3.0. In Web 1.0, users of the internet were consumers of information and data. In Web 2.0, users of the internet were consumers and creators of information and data. And now, in Web 3.0, users of the internet are consumers, creators, and owners of information and data. That's the big shift that we're going through. So what does all of this mean? Well, now that there's an open and permissionless way to create value, to create data, and actually monetize and control and own that data yourself, people now think that companies like Facebook and these big tech companies won't be able to control user data and profit from it in the same way that they did in Web 2.0. Imagine an open, decentralized Facebook, for example, where you owned your posts and you earned a percentage of the advertising revenue that was generated from your posts, based on, for example, how many likes it got or how many views it got.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Another cool thing is that you no longer need the permission of these big platforms to go and build and create something. You can go and build something and it has inherent intrinsic value because this computer will keep track that it's yours. So that's a really cool thing. We're basically back to a more open and distributed network, and the builders and the creators are the ones that are capturing all the value. And this has already started in the art world, for example. So as I said at the start of the video, I was going to reveal 3 ways that you can profit in Web3 and how you can get ahead of the curve and take advantage of this massive trend. So as I just said, one of the ways that people are starting to capture value online is with art. And NFTs are an amazing way. So NFTs are probably the best way for creators and creative people to capture value on the internet. People like Beeple, who's a famous NFT artist, has sold some of his artworks for millions of dollars, one for even $69 million. So there's amazing amount of value and a lot of profit to be captured as a creator by launching NFTs. The next way is as a builder. So if, for example, you're a builder or a programmer or a developer, you can go build protocols and applications in Web3 that allow communities and allow people to own things, to trade things, and do all kinds of amazing things in the Web3 world. So that's the second way, as a builder, as a developer, as a programmer who wants to build applications. And even if you're not a programmer, you can work with a programmer as a marketer or as a creative lead and help build a new application working with that person. So you can team up with people who have complementary skill sets and build amazing applications. And the third thing is as an investor, looking for the projects, looking for the creators and builders of NFTs, of fungible tokens and protocols and applications that are going to blow up and explode, that you think have a ton of potential, and investing on those projects early on to get the maximum returns. So in future videos, we'll go much deeper into all of this. We'll look at the technology, its limitations, its strengths, and where there's opportunities to expand and grow that technology, and people that are working on that and helping bring Web3 to a broader range of users. We're also going to go deeper into individual projects and NFTs, talk to the founders, and talk about where we think the space as a whole is going. So if that sounds exciting to you, remember to like, comment, and subscribe so you see more of these videos. And as I just said, remember to comment. We reply to every single comment. So if you want to know anything about Web3, if you have questions, share your views on Web3, and we'll reply to every single comment. So this has been Alex Jackson. Welcome to 3Zero, and I'm excited to see you in the next video.